Hi, my name's Venus O'Hara and welcome to another video. This is the first video I'm making from my new exciting co-working space and I'm so thrilled. Oh wow. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about why sleeping with married men is never a good idea. Oh my god. This is a very personal subject for me, and unfortunately, I'm talking about this subject from experience. So even though you don't need to experience sleeping with married men to know that it's definitely not a good idea. So hopefully this will inspire anyone to stop sleeping with married men or not to sleep with married men. So let me start with, at first, my first ever experience with a married man was when I was around 18 or 19 and I was working in a bar. And at the time, male attention was quite new for me because I had had a very tricky adolescence. I never felt beautiful. I was never considered to be one of the pretty girls at school. So all of a sudden when I was 17, 18, 19, I was getting all this male attention. I absolutely loved it. It was a massive ego boost. But being considered pretty for me just seemed very superficial because I remembered very well what it was like to not feel pretty, and I thought, all of this attention is going to be over when I'm old at 30. Old at 30. But of course that's not true. So I thought you had, so I was really, I guess I was interested in seducing men that I considered to be unattainable, and someone who's a boss or someone who's in a position of power, it was a real buzz for me. So I didn't sleep with him, but we had a kiss and a fumble with this boss of mine. And what made it even more thrilling for me was the fact that he'd only been married for 4 weeks. And I thought, oh my God, I must be really powerful. So it was terrible. And in terms of the girl code, I didn't care at the time about that. The girl code would be to not mess around with other people's guys. I didn't care about that because I thought, I'm not the one with the commitment. He's the one with the commitment. So he's the one who should be thinking about his wife and not me. However, now with time and experience, I see things in a very, very, very different light. But also I had some other dalliances with married men more recently, maybe a few years ago. And I think because of my job and everything, I think it has been difficult for me to meet men. And oops, sorry about the noise. It's been quite difficult for me to meet men in general because people get scared of my job. They get really intimidated. But so I found that some married men that I had encountered in the media here in Spain who knew all about my job and they weren't afraid of it. They weren't intimidated. I had some affairs, let's say. And what attracted me to them was the fact that it seemed emotionally safe because they were married, and I don't really know what I was looking for. And in one case in particular, someone told me they had an open relationship, and I thought, well, that's not my problem, you know. So I guess, yeah, I had some affairs with married men, and I think now I would not go with a married man again because I have learned a lot since those experiences. And what I have learned is that I think going for a married man is like almost settling for less. There are so many restrictions. You can't call them whenever you want. It's always on their terms. And in certain cases, these were married men who didn't live in Barcelona and they would just call me whenever they were in Barcelona on business. And I thought I didn't really like this type of, I'm not just hanging around waiting for the call. And also in my experiences with non-married men, I found that a lot of men, they had impotence when they found out how many sex toys I had, whereas with married men that was never a problem. And I think one thing that appealed to me was that how much they were into the sex without, that sounds really bad, but yeah, it was very, very focused on sex and enjoying a particular moment together and making the most of the time together. And it was very intense. Whereas in a normal relationship, there's not so much pressure to enjoy every single minute. So that was quite thrilling. However, now, I don't know, I've distanced myself completely from the married men that I was involved with. Another thing that I really couldn't stand as well with married men is the fact that when they were WhatsApping me, in their profile picture they would have a picture of their wife and kids, or sometimes just the kids, and that's so off-putting. I think when there is a family, you don't want to be disrupting or breaking up a family really just for sex. And even though I think I do believe in the girl code, but I do think ultimately the person who's at fault is the married person, is the person who has the commitment. But at the same time, knowing the destruction that an affair can cause, it's just not orgasmic at all. Yeah, so many reasons not to get involved with the married man. I think at the time as well, it was a self-esteem issue for me. I think now my self-esteem has grown so much that there is just no way. It's like almost settling for second best, being with a married man. And that's just not good enough. So, and also I don't think it's very good for your karma as well. And I think it makes you start to doubt a lot of people in general and relationships if you think, well, no, there's nothing sacred anymore. And I like to have a bit of faith still, that I still believe in romance and stuff. Yeah, so I think getting involved with married men it can really alter, or it can give you a very bad perception of men in general, because not all men are like that. I have some incredible male friends who are married who say they would never cheat on their wives, and so yeah. So in terms of married men, I have definitely learned my lesson, and if someone is married, they are definitely not going to get into my bed or in my heart or anything. And also going with married men is like saying to yourself, I'm okay with being second best. No one should ever be okay with being second best, in my opinion. If someone has an open relationship and it's consensual, then that's a very different situation. But when there's lots of lies involved, how do you know they're not lying to you? Because it does take a lot of lies to maintain an affair. So that's why it's another reason not to get involved with married men. So many reasons not to get involved. And in fact, there are so many reasons to not get involved. I can't think of a single reason why it would be a good idea anymore. I think it was just the sex, I guess. And I think forbidden fruit is I don't know if it's the sweetest, but it can be sweet at certain times. But once you've got your clothes on, it's not sweet anymore. Anyway, that's all for this video, and I hope this inspires you to not get involved with married men. See you next time.